You're now leading customer experience at Rome, which your guys are basically called Rome engineers, which I love, by the way. You've had a fascinating path to get there. And so let's start at that turning point. You spent years at Yext in a high impact operations role. Now you're building something totally fresh at Rome. It's a company, seems tailor-made for the remote era, focused on culture and flexibility and smart systems. And I can tell you from the outside looking in, working with you guys the last few weeks, it feels like you have a core group of people who believed in a vision and came together to build it. And so I just like to hear how all that came together and what was the transition like from Yext to Rome and what did it look like for you? And then what was that early spark that got things rolling?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, the transition was quite easy and it had nothing to do with sort of, my thoughts of leaving a public company, jumping into a startup. It was more or less that I knew the team behind the startup. Howard, who's the CEO of Rome, was formerly the CEO and founder of Yext. Yext was where I met Howard and a bunch of the other teammates that I work with today. And I spent, as you mentioned, about 8 years of my career there, mostly in IT operations roles, most notably head of IT operations. Now, one of the things about Howard's leadership is just his vision, his ability to see where things are going and skate to the puck, if you will, or I'm sorry, skate to where the puck is going, not to the puck itself. And that is what Rome basically was all about 3 or 4 years ago. We saw this opening to make a virtual office, obviously in light of COVID and that era of moving to a remote first environment for a lot of companies. Rome really seemed to have product market fit in that area because it is a virtual office and it is somewhere that your entire team, no matter where you go, can feel like they're under one digital roof, if you will. Now, the team at Yext was great. One of the best things about that Yext organization is that no matter where you went, if you were in a Yext office, it felt like you were in a Yext office. It had a culture about it. It had a sort of vibe that was energetic, productive, fun, and just overall made you want to basically be at work. And that was across the board. It wasn't one particular office. It was the New York office, which was the headquarters. It was the London headquarters, the office we had in Japan. No matter where you went, it just had this thing about it that made you want to be there. And then when COVID hit, we lost that spark, if you will. We tried to recreate that amazing culture and atmosphere by retrofitting our work days into our calendars and using Zoom and Slack or whatever the product of choice was at that time to replace that day-to-day operations. Now, from a productivity standpoint, it was fine. Going from meeting to meeting, I was still meeting with my team. I was still able to do what I need to do because that's what those apps are designed to facilitate, is basically like working remotely. But they were not built to replace that cultural aspect of feeling like you're working together. And they were not built for quick and short interactions. The idea that Rome could be that, focal point for your company where everybody gathers and you are able to have those more informal meetings, but also formal meetings all under the same roof, struck Howard basically during this era of when we were all trying to make the Slack Zoom combination work for us. And it just simply wasn't, right? He was used to walking into an office at any point in time, having a conversation with somebody in the moment. Didn't matter who it was, where they were. He was always interested in just getting a sense of what people were doing. One of the things that is great about Howard is that he's very hands-on. So he likes to meet everybody in the organization, and that sort of trickles down throughout everybody under him, right? So it's a very cohesive and collaborative environment that he creates. When we were, I guess it's about 2021 at this point, 2020, when we were using these tools, that whole aspect was missing, right? Because everything, like everything else or everybody else, you have to schedule meetings now. And there's only so many slots in a day. And all you do is go from meeting to meeting and you promise people thing after thing. And then you just end your day and then rinse and repeat. You do it more tomorrow, right? That aspect of the work life was missing so many components that made Yext great, right? So Howard had this idea. I wish I could just see everybody as if we were going into the office routinely. And by the way, even in a hybrid environment, that was still missing because we did go hybrid at some point. But now you're just playing the game of, is Jake in the office today or is he in the office next week? So I do Wednesdays, but I don't do Thursdays. So now I just commute to the office and I'm on Zoom calls anyway. Like, it was still missing. And he just had this idea of, I wish I can see everybody, give me a sense of what everybody's doing, just as if we were in the office. Think Harry Potter, think Marauder's map. That's the best way to visualize the concept that popped into his head when he came up with Rome. Now, I was all on board for multiple reasons. One, I saw the value, I saw the vision. Also, I trust him, I trust the team. And the core group of people that made up this company, many of them who are still here right now, are people that I just have been working with for the last decade. Our head of engineering was my first boss at Yext. Howard obviously was our CEO. A lot of people on the go-to-market team I supported in an IT role for 10 years, so I knew them pretty well. Like it's like a familiar sort of like family is the sappiest, corniest way to put it, but it's true. Like we just all know and trust each other.